Smoking has been around for a long time, and it's been increasingly controversial in recent years due to the effects on health in comparisons to other legal and illegal pastimes. But, like with most things with such a long history and tenure, there are probably plenty of things that you didn't know about smoking. What is up, guys? Jimmy here. Welcome to the Facts series. This is the series where the ultimate goal is for you to walk away from the video saying, wow, I actually did not know that. We try to dig up facts on random topics and present it to you guys for an interesting video. And today, we are going to be learning some new things about smoking. We are running a $200 Amazon gift card giveaway the entire month. All you have to do to enter is like this video, be subscribed, turn on your notifications, and leave a comment why you want to win it with your Twitter handle attached. I will announce the winner at the end of the month on Twitter. First, a little history lesson for everybody. The first recorded event of recreational tobacco use was in the 9th century when the earliest forms of cigars and cigarettes were discovered from Mexico and Central America. Tobacco originated in South America and Mesoamerica, and it was later introduced to Spain, which allowed it to spread throughout Europe. Smoking became more and more popular in Europe and the New World during the Industrial Revolution, which began around, we'll just say 1760, and is believed to have ended at some point between 1820 and 1840. Most of the time, tobacco was smoked using pipes or cigars, as the modern cigarette was not widely introduced until after the Crimean War, which ended in March of 1856. Once the cigarette was introduced in its modern form, though, smoking became more and more common throughout the entire world. Now, smoking really exploded during the early 20th century, especially in the United States, with the rise of entertainment in the world and the status symbol that smoking became. In the year 1900, the annual cigarette consumption in the United States per capita was only 54, but by 1965, that number had risen all the way to 4,259, and according to stats, 50% of all American men and 33% of all American women smoked more than 100 cigarettes per year in the early 20th century. And after links were made between smoking and health problems, the worldwide fight against tobacco began. The first time that lung cancer was linked to smoking was actually in Germany between the First and the Second World War, which is kind of what led to a massive anti-tobacco movement in the Nazi Party and the rationing of cigarettes to soldiers. Many countries began putting warnings on tobacco products in an effort to try to raise awareness. And by the turn of the century, the annual cigarette consumption per capita had managed to drop to 1,691. And in modern-day America, approximately 18% of people smokers. Speaking of links to health problems, there are plenty of pretty insane statistics about smoking that have raised plenty of awareness towards it. Tobacco is said to give you 50% off of your death time. As of the recording of this video, tobacco is the leading preventable cause of death in the United States, as it makes up for about 1 out of every 5 deaths in the country. And according to various studies, a regular male smoker loses about 13.2 years of their life to tobacco, and a regular female smoker loses about 14.5 years, and that is not taking into account the various health problems that you may develop before you actually pass away. Secondhand smoke is also a huge deal, as every year around 46,000 non-smokers actually die from heart diseases they developed by being around smokers. Now, back before all these health risks were known by pretty much everybody, which is where we're at now, various tobacco companies were free to advertise as much as they wanted to into any demographic. However, all of that changed once President Nixon took over the White House in 1969. He began the war on drugs. In 1970, Nixon officially signed off on a new law that prohibited cigarettes from being advertised on TV and also forced tobacco companies to put warning labels on all their products. The new law officially went into effect on January 1st, 1971, and that is where the tide slowly started turning when it came to smoking. Now, despite the countrywide ban on advertising tobacco products, some companies still wanted to get their name out there in a more indirect way. This led to the creation of ad campaigns like Joe Camel, who was the cartoon mascot for Camel cigarettes, who was the subject of huge controversy and ended up getting Camel in some trouble for potentially trying to advertise to children. During investigations of Camel cigarettes, some pretty shocking stats and research were discovered. According to the San Francisco County Superior Court, Camel had been specifically targeting children with their ad campaigns in an effort to get them addicted to smoking in order to make them lifelong customers. After these plans came to light, Camel eliminated the Joe Camel ads and paid $10 million to various California cities in an effort to try to cover their tracks, but the damage had already been done. The tobacco industry is huge now, even now, and it's only gotten bigger over the years. In fact, cigarettes are the most traded item in the world with a global intake of over $400 billion every single year. And in 2013, state governments collected over $25 billion from tobacco companies in taxes. Despite all the money that the tobacco companies are bringing in, studies have shown that the amount of nicotine in each cigarette has been steadily increasing over the years in all of the major tobacco brands. That's a shocking 11% nicotine increase between 97 and 2005, likely in an effort to get people hooked faster. The tobacco companies aren't the only ones concerned with money either. Smoking has a pretty big monetary effect on the smoker as well. Although it's going the other direction. You're not making money if you're a smoker. The average smoker in America spends between, are you ready for this? $1,500 and $3,300 every year on tobacco products. And the U.S. government spends about $333 billion every year on healthcare expenses in response to the tobacco-related incidents. So it's like this vicious circle of money going in and money going out. And the ones that are benefiting are, of course, the cigarette company. A lot of people around the world are very concerned about keeping the environment clean and making sure that people don't litter. Well, this is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of environmentalists are so against smoking. Every year, approximately 1.6 billion pounds of cigarette butts end up scattered around the world, making cigarettes the single most littered item on the entire planet. This means that cigarettes are littered more than wrappers, newspapers, receipts, everything. It's pretty crazy to think that cigarettes are something that not everyone buys or has access to, and yet they are still the most littered thing in the world. And the crazy thing is, I just told you guys how many pounds, 1.6 billion pounds of cigarette butts. Cigarette butts are super, super small, so it takes a lot of these to equal even 1 pound. With all the recent talk about the marijuana smoking laws, it's caused some attention to be conducted towards strange laws surrounding tobacco smoking. While it's illegal for minors to buy cigarettes in the U.S., it's actually completely legal for them to smoke, which is kind of weird. Most cities in the U.S. have issued bans on smoking in workplaces, restaurants, and bars, although there are a few exceptions. Weirdly enough, 11 of the 60 most populated cities in America don't have any citywide bans on smoking in restaurants and bars. Singapore is especially harsh on smokers, as smoking in a public place can actually land you a hefty fine. And weirdly enough, citywide bans on smoking in restaurants and bars have resulted in many reports of social businesses claiming a decrease in population in those establishments, which is probably what's keeping those 11 cities I mentioned earlier from issuing them. Although it's a pretty tough situation to be in when you're passing a law like that, or it's a pretty tough situation to be in as the restaurant owner. What state do you guys think smokes the most? I'll give you a second to put it in the comment section. All right, time's up. As of the recording of this video, Kentucky is the U.S. state with the highest percentage of smokers, with about 28% of the Kentucky population regularly smoking. Now, Indiana comes in at a close second, with 27% of the population regularly smoking, and Tennessee comes in third with 26%. All those are pretty close together. The state with the fewest smokers is actually Utah, where only about 11% of the population smokes. So, where in the world do you guys think people smoke the most? Not just the U.S., but actually in the world. Well, that title currently goes to Serbia, with Bulgaria and Greece as close runner-ups. The annual cigarette per capita in Serbia is a whopping 2,861. Have you ever wondered why smoking has been linked to gaining weight? Well, that's because about 20% of each cigarette produced is actually sugar. Did you know that? It's actually sugar, and many people are unaware of this. There are light cigarettes, although they tend to not cut down on any of the tar or nicotine, and many have been linked the sugar in cigarettes being the main abuse of lung cancer that may follow. This is also why when someone quits smoking, they may have cravings for sweets, for candy bars, gum, suckers, whatever, as their body is actually trying to make up for the lack of sugar intake. So, along with the other stuff in cigarettes, nicotine, tar, all the chemicals, sugar comprises a big part of an actual cigarette, which is actually kind of a crazy fact. And there you have it, my friends. Those are 10 facts about smoking. Do you know any smokers? Do you smoke yourself? Do you like smoking? Are you against smoking? What about vaping? You guys let me know in the comment section, and there's a playlist below if you want to check out all the other facts videos that go up every single day. Once again, the ultimate goal is for you to walk away and say, wow, I actually found that interesting. And if you guys want to give random suggestions for future facts videos, feel free. We can do any topic in the world or even out of the world. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow for a new one.